In 2010, Middle Tennessee suffered an unbelievable flood, and this truck was in the middle of it. $300 buys you a truck with a seized engine that was in this flood. People often wonder if a vehicle that's in a flood can be recovered. This is your chance to see if it's possible. Taking a better look at this, we might have overpaid. Call me crazy, but I just bought this thing. It's a 1980 Ford F150 extended cab. It's very, very rough. It's at a closed Ford dealership. If you haven't watched that video, check it out. Right now I'm trying to get the wheels unstuck. This isn't the first one and it's stuck, so next step is to pull the brakes off. I'm just going to take the pads out so I can get this thing home. These Fords are held in with a retainer bolt, which thankfully came right out. This truck has been here an extremely long time, since way before the dealership closed, and the dealership closed quite some time ago, 20 plus years. Now I've got to knock this pin out, and then I should be able to get the caliper off. All right, that's one. Whew, 3 to go. What I ended up doing was, the pin here will not come out. It's not the hose. I loosened this up and it didn't do anything. It is the caliper. So I put the chisel in here on both ends and it freed up enough. Then I just oiled up the rotor itself and now it's perfectly free. That's good news. All right, this one is free too. Luckily I didn't have to do anything to it except jack it up. I've got one more wheel to free up. Okay, this last one is just a little bit stuck. So I've squirted Cree-Oil behind here in the drum, hoping it gets on the shoes and loosens them up. And I'm just going to put a lug wrench on it like I did with the other side and spin and see if I can break it loose totally. The crisscross is just to make sure the hood doesn't fly up. I don't think it will because the air is just going to pass under it. So it's tied down good and we're on our way. Not too far of a drive, no highways. I would never leave the hood like that if we were going to hit any kind of speed, but we're not going to. So off we go. Note to self, bring the right size rims next time. This is tough to get off with 3 flats. Success. In May of 2010, heirs of Middle Tennessee experienced 17 inches of rain in 2 days. The floods were damaging and resulted in parts of the state being classified by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, as a disaster area. Particularly hard hit was the small town of Centerville, where the Duck River crested 10 feet higher than the previous high set in 1948. This truck was at a closed Ford dealership in Centerville, where it was flooded and never used again. This thing is rough. It's rougher than a cat's tongue. The first thing we need to do is put some mystery oil in the cylinders, something that we need to let sit for a while. So we're going to do that, and pretty much only that right now. This hood is in really bad shape, as you can see. But it actually swings pretty well. So I just need to find a spot. Look at that. All right, first success of the day. This truck has some really nice plug wires on it, surprisingly. I guess because it was a dealer truck. But we have no idea what this engine holds. All we know is it's seized tight. This is plug 7. So the third one on the driver's side. It's got a lot of rust. A scary amount of rust. Scary.
Well, he might learn a lot on this truck, huh?
Yep.
Good and bad. We're going to take a quick look down in that cylinder. See what we're dealing with.
Okay.
You're in. There is so much rust in there, babe.
Oh boy.
Do you want to move that around a little bit?
That's terrible.
It is really bad. Oh, it just, oh, is that, that's the bottom, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. Can you move around to the sides? Yeah, there you go. I don't see, yeah, that's a good angle of the,
Here's the bottom of the valve.
yeah.
So the valve's not open, at least that one.
Yeah, you know, maybe it's just a little rust. You know, I think it might break free, honestly. It's bad, but I think, let's put some acetone in there as well. What do you think? Acetone in the oil.
Yeah. Okay, I just got number 8 out. Way back there. And I employed a trick that some people don't know about, so I'm going to show you. Here's the spark plug socket. I wasn't able to get a good socket in there, a good ratchet in there to get the right leverage. I needed 1/2 inch leverage. I can only fit a small 3/8 in there. But there's a reason for these edges. And what they're for is so that you can get a wrench around the end in tight clearances. Or in the case of this one, you have a 3/4 inch socket that does fit where an extension wouldn't, and that's what worked here. Some of these plug boots are like being welded on to the plugs. It's so hard to get them off, but thanks to my brother Matt at Florida Rustic Repairs channel, I've got these boot pliers and they work so well. Just grab as close to the plug as you can and pull, and the boot comes off. Thank you, Matt. So this is how I have to get this plug out. It is so stuck. And it's the whole way. It's not just to get it loose, it's the whole way. And it's not getting any easier. I think I got it.
It's not really rusted.
No, it's not. And that's the last one. And unfortunately, this one's got quite a bit of rust on it. So this cylinder's definitely one of the problem ones. But you can see how ridiculous it was to get these off. 1/2 inch socket with a pipe. And even then it was tough. Okay, it was a little stuck, the throttle linkage, but not too bad. What I'm also going to do, I'm going to put some mystery oil down the carb. I'm doing that because it will flow through the manifold, and in any of the open valves it'll also go in the cylinder. I'm not going to put a lot, but I have had a little bit of luck doing this. If nothing else, it'll help lube up the valves, the ones that are open anyway. So I'm going to let this soak now for a while. I'm really thinking this is going to be full of water, but let's see. I'm ready to take it off.
Go ahead.
I'm already feeling water.
You are?
Yes.
Well, it'd be interesting
And
to
it's
see.
not even off yet.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Look at that.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah. It's just a drip, so there must be something in there. Oh my goodness.
It's full of water.
You know, honestly, we knew it had to be. We knew it had to be. Yeah.
Only water coming out right now. No oil. Boy, we know how to pick them.
This might be the most water we've seen come out. It's such a heavy stream, too. I mean, it is just such a heavy, thick stream of water.
I have to laugh. There's no gunk, just water.
Yeah. Wait a minute. There's some stuff coming out now.
Okay.
Now you're gonna plug it? I mean, you've let it go that far.
Yeah, I don't want to mix the oil with the water. It makes it really hard to recycle.
Oh, I gotcha.
So we drained most of the water out. Let's see what the dipstick reads.
This should be funny.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So how much above the full mark is it? Looks like a quart.
Okay. And it was up here.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was up here.
Uh-huh.
We can pick them. So this is the undercarriage. Doesn't look that bad. I mean, the exhaust pipe's not even rusted out. See that? So it got flooded out. The rest of it dried out and the water just stayed in the pan, and luckily does not appear to have rotted out the pan, because the rest of this underneath is pretty good. There is one thing under here that doesn't belong, and that's this. This is not a suspension component, it's a branch.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah. We were not going to see if we could unstick this today, but the excitement's gotten to us now.
Also, we're going to look and see if maybe the engine has crack in it somewhere too. Because Richard said, you know, how did that water not freeze? And that's a good point.
It must have, but luckily it wasn't in the block, it was only in the pan.
Hope so.
So it's quite possible that it froze and just expanded, and that's it.
Yeah. I don't see. Yeah. You want to move up here? You could use that.
I can get by the fan up there. I'm gonna have to do it.
Oh, I was gonna say, I know you could get that pipe there easier.
So one of the things that is no doubt not helping us is all these accessories are still connected, and any of them could be seized because this thing was full of water. And this idler right here is known for seizing on Fords, even if the vehicle's not underwater. And it feels to me very stuck. So I'm gonna just loosen it up and loosen up all of this stuff to eliminate it from the possibilities of seizing.
Show them what happened. It got stuck in the pipe. You know what? Oh, and we have to laugh because we're kind of cranky because it's about 102 right now outside, and you know, you get kind of cranky when it's that hot. Oh my goodness. You know, I think you're going to have to put something on there to pull it off. Do you have some vice grips or something?
Wow.
I know.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, I think you got it. You got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That was a bit of a fail. The idler is not seized, nor is the AC. So, take those off the list.
We were so hopeful.
Oh, we were. I just have to crank this the other way and it should loosen the belt.
But will it turn?
Yeah, that's not seized.
Darn it.
And it is not seized either.
Well, it's definitely the engine then.
Yeah, because I don't think the alternator's seized. We checked that. This thing has been sitting for 3 days with mystery oil in it. Every day I come out and I try to spin it forward or back. And today I've been trying it with this longest pipe setup yet, and it just won't move. I got a super good grip on the crank and it just won't move. So I'm about to try something super unorthodox. I'm going to actually have the starter help me out. So I'm going to push on the pipe and hit the trigger on the starter, and that'll give me more power to see if it'll spin. This is not the best idea. I don't recommend it, but I'm out of options at this point. This thing is just stuck. So I'm going to start with the touch test just to make sure. Okay, we got some solenoid going off, but nothing big. Nothing big. And it's very simple. I'm just going to push on this pipe as hard as I can, which I've been doing, and also hit this. I don't expect this to work, but hey, it might. Yeah, it didn't. Might be a bad connection here. Ah, it moved.
Did it?
I think it moved. Watch. I think it moved. Watch the radiator hose.
Oh, yeah, it moved. Do it again. Yeah, I mean, it's little.
Oh, yeah! Woohoo! It's not the smartest thing to do. I'm not recommending you all do this. But in a desperation situation, it worked here. It's still really tight because I can't do it by hand yet. So we got it moving quite a bit. I'm gonna try it now with just the starter, just bumping it.
Oh, yeah.
The reason I'm bumping it, if I run into something, I don't want to break anything. Like right there.
Yeah.
I've hit something. So I'm gonna stop, check things out, and then get back to it. So here's what happened. This is a warning if you're ever doing something like using the starter. I had put mystery oil in all these, and I left the plugs in but loose, but I tightened this one a little too much. So it actually created compression in the cylinder. When I was turning the engine, the mystery oil doesn't compress like air, so it stopped the piston. If I had kept pushing on that and trying it, I probably would have caused some damage. I've seen everything from cracked pistons, bent rods, and believe it or not, a blown wrist pin from doing that. So I knew to stop right away. In the future, I'm gonna take all the plugs out. I always do. This is the very first time I didn't, but I was just so excited, I kind of forgot that this one was still a little bit tight. So make sure the plugs are always out when you turn in the engine. All right, so now with all the plugs out, we're gonna see if it spins on the starter.
Oh, that last. Well, it's not the last one. It's almost the last one.
I'm still bumping it. I don't want to just whole hog hit it. I'm just bumping it.
Sorry, guys. I'm trying. Oh, no, the last one, the very last one, the mystery oil poured out. It's still coming out.
That scratchy noise you all are hearing is just the pulley on the water pump. So now I'm going to hit it. We've gone around well over 2 times. I'm just going to hit it with the starter.
Quite a bit came out.
Yeah. So I don't want to spin this so much I start to build oil pressure, although I think I did build oil pressure there just a bit because I heard a small noise that went away. Because this oil's terrible. This oil has to go. So that's going to be the next step, is get this oil out of here. But this is fantastic that the engine is unseized. I am super excited. Woo!
So Richard, today you are going to tackle the oil, changing the oil.
Complete oil change, yep.
And
Get the tires off so we can put tires on them. In case this runs, we'll be able to drive it around.
nice.
That's optimistic, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, there's still some water in here.
Nothing like there was.
No.
Nothing like there was.
Nope. But there's a lot of junk in here too. It should be flowing out a lot faster than it is.
Look how new that Ford part sticker looks.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Yeah, well, maybe that's why it wasn't stuck. All right, this side is not stuck at all.
It's a hot day today. It's a hot day. I think it said it feels 106 out right now. And we're in the shade and it's hot.
That doesn't look so bad. There's a little bit of water in it, but it's not terrible. but it doesn't look like 4 quarts to me. We will find out momentarily.
So you have about a little over 5 quarts total?
Yeah, about 5.5.
Well, then you must have got the bulk of the water out then.
Yeah,
Which
this oil stinks.
Does it?
Ugh, it smells.
So what's going on your part of the project?
Well, I was hoping to button up the oil pan, but a gallon of diesel's not enough.
Yeah.
There's so much gunk in that pan. I stick the screwdriver up and it comes back covered.
Really?
The whole length of the screwdriver.
Well,
So
I don't know. Honestly, are you surprised?
yeah, I mean, I'm surprised
Really?
at that.
Because
So
of the water?
I'm gonna put a gallon in overnight and see how it goes. And right now, I'm gonna hook the fan back up.
Are you surprised because there was so much water in there?
No, I'm just surprised there's that much junk still in it. I flushed it twice with diesel fuel. Okay, we're wrapping up for the day. I'm gonna have to get more diesel because I can't flush the pan with what I've got. That's what came out of it so far. And we'll be back at it soon. It's a scorcher today, but we're forging ahead with this. The diesel fuel is inside the oil pan, hopefully further loosening things up. But for now, we're gonna check under the cap. We don't think the water got high enough to get under the cap, but we actually really don't know. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It doesn't look like it was full of water, does it?
Mm-mm. No, I've never seen one that color before.
Yeah. Although this is very rusty. Very, very rusty. So perhaps there was some moisture in there at one time. But it's gone now. You know, this is an electronic ignition, so hopefully that pickup still works. It looks relatively clean. So I'm gonna clean this up, clean under the cap, and get back to you. See how they're almost worn through? So in looking at this cap, once I cleaned it, it is super worn. See the marks here?
Mm-hmm.
They're grooves. So the rotor has actually sparked so many times it's made grooves in the contacts. This diesel's been in here a while now. Let's see what it's gonna look like. Yeah, it's much better.
Yeah.
See how fast it's coming out now?
Yeah, and it's from here you can tell there's some black in it, but not.
It's pretty clean.
Yeah, I mean the black. I see more black now that it's coming to the end probably, but it's so much better.
Yeah, I'm gonna cap it and stick a screwdriver up there and see what I get. Oh yeah, I think we got it. We got a fresh filter on it now, and I put some Rotella 1540. This oil is better in an older engine than the stuff they sell off the shelf, but it's not a cure-all. People think this has tons of zinc in it. It doesn't. It's got more zinc than traditional motor oils for cars, but don't use this as like break-in oil or your first oil change for a new engine that's flat tappet. It's not good enough. Okay, we're going to run a compression test. Simple compression gauge, don't need to go all out and buy a snap-on or anything. And you just thread one end into the spark plug hole, clip the gauge to the other end, and this will tell us what we need to know. Let's try that again. Okay, that's not good. No compression whatsoever.
You want to try another one, see what happens?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's almost 120.
Uh-huh. Well, that cylinder's great. Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing?
No, it didn't move at all that time.
Well, it was a different cylinder.
Oh, it was?
That was
Oh.
back to number 2 or number 6.
Oh, okay.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
That wasn't hard to get loose. Oh no. Oh no.
Wow.
Look at that.
I saw it. Let me get over here. Was not expecting that.
Me neither.
I mean, just because the car's been in a flood and sat in water for maybe a week or so, I mean...
What's this? Oh, that came from the valve cover. Okay. Oh boy. Wow, that's bad. Look at this. Can you see that?
I can see that. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. Well.
Hey, okay. Job just got a bit harder, but we'll vacuum this out and cover it with mystery oil. Okay, this side now. This side has at least one cylinder that's got great compression. Better.
Yeah.
Not great, but better. Yep. It gives me a little hope. Not a lot, but a little.
All right.
Here's inside the valve cover. Right, very bad in the middle. The two ends not so bad.
Yeah. Well, and which one had compression? Was it the first one? You know, it's funny. Well, maybe it's not funny, but it's the only one without rust on it.
Uh-huh.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, look at that water. Oh no, that's my Cree oil. Okay. This looks okay here. Right, the pivot point. See, the rocker arm sits there like that and pivots like that to actuate the valve. And the push rod's pushing here, and the valve is here, and it's going like that. That's all fine. That's not stuck. But this, we were thinking this might be broke or bent.
Can you hold it straight?
It doesn't look it.
Maybe there's just so much rust on the top, it just looks crooked.
Well, the way to do this is roll it across the floor. And if it rolls, then it's not bent. How's that look? It looks good.
It look, yeah. Once you
looks
got
good.
that off, I think it looks fine.
Yep. Well, let's check if that valve's stuck, since we're here.
Let's see.
No, this is not stuck. Not stuck. So this one was a tiny bit stuck. As soon as I hit it, it popped. So this one's good and this one's good. I'm going to move on to this one. These all look like they're going to be okay. Now we're getting into some of the bad ones, like this guy right there. This rocker was actually frozen. See the rust in here? It didn't want to pivot. So I'm wondering if this push rod might be bent as a result of that. Let's see. So far, none of them have been bent. This one's very rusty. It doesn't appear to be, but it's very, very rusty. So I'm going to clean this up, vacuum this out, and check if this valve is in fact stuck. Okay, so first stuck valve right there. This is the passenger side. One next to it's okay, then this one. I pulled the bolt out and you can see everything stayed in place. There was one of these like this on the driver's side as well. The rocker itself is just rusted into place, so nothing's moving. I suspect this valve might be okay, but the push rod's probably bent because the rocker arm itself is seized. We'll find out. So far, the stuck valve has resulted in a bent push rod. So we've got one push rod bad already, and that is right here. That's pretty badly bent. So we may have number two. I'm going to wrap on this with the brass hammer, this one right here, to get it out. So this is the push rod from the same rocker arm that was frozen solid. It's not bent, but it's very, very rusty. So I'm not sure what's going on here when the engine turns over. I still need to check if that valve is stuck. It doesn't look it, but I need to check it. But this is very, very bad. So great news here. This valve was stuck, but as soon as I tapped on it, it popped out. So that popped up. So that's the second one that's done that. That is super good news. I guess that explains why the push rod's not bent, because the valve went down and just stayed down. So I can clean up this rocker, put it back in, and I think it's going to be okay. One of the things I'm doing to clean the push rods is making sure that they flow. So just using some brake clean and blowing it right through the push rod. This one was packed solid, as you can imagine. It's the most rusty so far. This is a great example of what I mean when I say that the rocker is fused. See, this is supposed to pivot, right? This thing here is supposed to move, and it's completely frozen, completely frozen. So the rocker can't move, so the push rod bends or other bad stuff happens. In the case of this one that's completely frozen, let's see if the push rod is bent. It's not. It's not. I don't really have a good explanation as to why it's not bent, but it isn't. I hope it doesn't mean that that cam lobe's wiped out, but I don't think it means that, because this thing hasn't been run since the flood, as far as I know. So my theory is the cam came up, pushed on the push rod, the rocker arm actuated the valve, and the rocker arm seized right there from the rust. Kept the valve open, which it did. This valve was stuck open. As soon as I took the rocker arm off, it popped. And that's why this isn't bent. That's the only explanation that makes sense to me. I've shown you all this a bunch of times before, but it's always a good demo. How do I know if the valve is stuck? You just take a brass hammer, you kind of like drop it on it. Just like that. See how the hammer bounced off? Hopefully you can see that. I'm barely holding it, and it's bouncing off. And it doesn't have a metallic thud to it. That means the valve is not stuck. If it has just a dead noise to it, and of course if the valve starts to go down, this one is down, though it was like that, I didn't do that, then you know the valve is stuck. This one is not, thankfully. So far, just one is stuck. All right, this guy is super stuck. It's moving up and down, so it's pivoting, but it needs to come out and get cleaned. It is really stuck. Okay, so let's see why. See all that? It can pivot under a lot of pressure, but it wasn't pivoting as easily as it should, just because of all this corrosion.
Yeah, that looks terrible.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
It does.
I'm gonna pull that
Push rod?
Yeah.
Yeah. And look at this tower here. It's terrible.
Oh.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, this is really stuck. I always twist these before I pull them out because I want to break the connection with the lifter. And this one is coming out hard because of that. It was actually starting to rust itself to the head. This is where the head met or was close to the push rod. And look at that. That's not like rust I can easily wipe off. This is going to have to go in the abrasive wheel to get off.
Wow.
And I've been doing that on every one of these, taking the abrasive wheel to clean them, but this is the worst. This is the worst. I don't know how this was working. I've always been of the school of thought that a bent push rod cannot be fixed because the metal is weakened, and once it's straightened, it'll bend again. That's been my experience, but a lot of people have commented and said, no, you can straighten them and use them again. So I'm going to try it this time because I don't have a 351M push rod on hand. We'll see how it goes. I have nothing to lose. So all the rockers have been removed and cleaned. The push rods have been cleaned and made sure that fluid can blow through. A lot of them were plugged. I took many of these to the abrasive wheel to clean them up. They were just so bad. The push rod that was bent has been straightened, and I think we're ready to just see how everything's operating. So let's take a look, see if everything's moving up and down as it should. Yeah, real good on that side. Let's move over to the other side and see how that's going.
Well, the back one you could not get unstuck.
The second to back one. Okay. The back one was stuck, but I got it freed. But the second to back one, no.
Okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah. All good except that one.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with that one. It'll start and run on 7, and maybe that one will free up once it gets some oil pressure. The oddity with this truck is that someone has cut the wires to the coil. I guess it's some kind of theft preventative thing, but obviously I gotta fix that. It's a simple fix, it will only take a minute. So let's recap. We've got all the rockers moving, all the push rods moving. We've got one lifter that isn't pumping up for whatever reason. Maybe the cam lobe shot, maybe it's not. I'll find out if I can get this running, that'll tell me. It spins good, the starter seems to be good. So I'm gonna clean up for the night. It's starting to get dark. We've been out here all day long. And we'll be back at it. We're close, I'm getting excited. Back at it this morning. The next job up in this rescue is the transmission. I have to believe that water got in that transmission. I don't see it on the stick, but it must have. And I don't want to pump that water through the transmission if I get this thing started. So I'm going to drop the pan and take a look at what's going on. And sure enough, there's water in here. See that right there? It's hard to see with this light, but that's white. So that's all water and transmission fluid congealing together. It's not a lot of water, less than I thought, but it's certainly water. How did it get in here? Probably through the transmission vent. Transmissions have a vent on top, and if it's underwater, water will get in there. Typically water won't unless it's a situation like that, but you can see there's plenty of water in here. I'm glad I dropped this. Pan is all cleaned out, and you see a little bit of rust there. So the water must have settled there. That's not a problem. It's not rusted through or anything, not in danger of rusting through, but interesting nonetheless. Pan is back in, all cleaned out. Filter installed. It should be good to go.
This has been a lot of work. He's been working out here. I've been working on the inside. So it's been a lot of work for both of us, just in different ways, but it's been a lot of work. So you said you're about ready to see if it'll fire?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting really close. I can't really think of anything else that needs to be done. Okay, key on. Neutral. That'll be neutral. Okay, I can't believe that we're finally at the point to try and fire this. This has been a lot of work. So here we go.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, you got spark. Yeah.
Definitely sparking. Let's try some ether. I hate to use ether, but this feels like it needs a kick.
It's speeding up.
It is speeding up. It feels like it's out of time. It sounds like it's way out of time. I'm going to loosen this distributor because it really sounds like it's out of time.
All right, Richard.
Yeah.
You're looking for another issue, right?
Yep.
And that is?
The exhaust might be plugged with mud.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we get this exhaust disconnected without taking the Sawzall to it, which I'd rather not do.
Yeah, it still looks pretty good under there.
It's really in nice shape. So this is super interesting. Look at this mark here. Looks like someone tried to steal this cat at one time. They bent this bracket out of the way and they started to saw it, and then for whatever reason stopped.
You're not messing around this time. Be careful.
Yeah.
Okay, so Richard, fill them in on what they've missed.
Well, I've spent the last hour and a half trying to get it to hold down bolt for the rotor, for the distributor.
Yeah.
And this AC is right in the way. And I've got the AC all loose, but there must be a hidden bolt somewhere because it won't come out. I think I might have just found a hidden bolt.
Oh, well, that works out.
Maybe. And it's whatever the bolt is, it's loose because the whole thing's moving around and I didn't loosen it up. So it's been loose for a long time. And I just found a bolt under here that's loose.
Well, watch.
I don't know if I can get my arms in there.
I was going to say watch your arms because your arms are so beat up. I joke with Richard that there's so many bruises on his arms that it looks like he's shooting up. I mean, it's terrible.
I need some drugs, man. After working on this thing,
I think you just need a beer.
Yeah, like 5 after working on this thing. This truck has been a bear. Now, of course, flooded trucks will be a bear, but this thing has just been, it surpassed my expectations of being tough.
Yeah.
I mean, really, this is getting to be in the top 5 of difficult ones.
Well, and you know, here's the thing. We were out here yesterday, all excited to work on it, but we had to button things up so we could head out to check on the Lincoln. And, you know, when you walk away and then come back, you kind of lose track, don't you?
Yeah, but there's been plenty of new challenges, too.
Okay, Richard.
I'm tired.
I know you are. I know you are.
Let's give it a try.
Come on.
I retarded the timing just a little bit. Let's see what happens.
Oh, okay. Oh, baby.
see how easier it's spinning now?
Yes, yeah.
That's funny.
I'm watching that one in the back that's stuck because I'm still hoping.
Yeah, me too. Nah, baby.
Oh, I can tell your battery's going down again.
Yeah,
Darn it.
The battery's a problem.
Yeah, the light is shining, the last light of the night, and it's so much better right now. Oh, baby. You know, tell them what you did.
I retarded the timing a little, which I thought might be the issue, but the distributor was so stuck, I was having trouble doing it.
High five.
Yeah!
Oh my gosh.
All right, now we got to keep this baby running.
I know. Okay. He made me come over to this side. He said it was too dangerous over there.
But you can work the button.
Oh, gee, thanks. That doesn't help my camera work any, but... You ready?
Go for it.
Why did something pop here?
Because it popped through the carb and then through the PCV.
Okay.
You know, that PCV, speaking of vacuum leaks, I'm going to take your advice and just plug that off.
We're getting ready to burn this out.
Yeah.
And my thumb kind of hurts from holding this so much.
Yeah, luckily that's the cable smoke and not the...
Thank goodness, okay.
Not the...
I bet, yeah.
That's enough to
I know, it was getting so hot. But you know, it gives us something to go back and look at the footage and think about. A lot of times when we go back in and do that, come out the next day and we have it figured out.
Well, we need a new positive cable, I can tell you that. This one's cooked.
Yeah.
And it's too small.
All right, let's go in and you can eat some dinner, rest, and
Put this
look
battery
and
on the charger.
yeah, look and listen to the footage. Tomorrow's another day.
A little more prep work that I've been doing, just trying to make life a little bit easier to start. I've plugged off the hose to the power brakes. You know, this booster is just a potential huge vacuum leak. So these brakes aren't going to probably work anyway, so I might as well just plug that off for now. Not permanently, but for now. So that's a vacuum leak source plugged. I also replaced the positive cable with a much nicer one. The old one was really short, and the end where it connected to here was a whole lot smaller than the gauge of the cable. Very odd. This is what it looked like. Look at how small that wire is compared to the cable itself. It's no wonder it melted. Of course, I am beating on it. I realize that. I'm not being nice to the starter nor the battery, but I'm doing what I can to get this thing to fire, and it's going to have to spin fast in order to fire. I know I've got some compression issues in some of the cylinders, and to overcome that, it's going to have to spin faster. I've also put a new cap on it. Here's the old one. When it was new, this was a decent cap, but it is super worn now. This particular terminal, I don't know if you, I think you can see that. It's just worn right through it. So this isn't the whole problem, but all these little things certainly contribute to the issue I'm having getting it started. None of them are the main issue, but none of them are helping me. Let's talk spark plugs for a minute. I am not the guy that just changes spark plugs because they're old. Most of the time they can be cleaned quickly and it's not a problem to reuse them. This truck is different. I can't get these things clean. There's some kind of stain on them that just won't come off. I've tried everything. I even tried letting them sit in brake clean. It just doesn't clean up. So in this case, I have some new plugs to put in it. Big day today. We haven't touched this in about 3 or 4 days because we've been so busy with other things. But I did change all the plugs out, so the plugs are brand new. Everything's hooked up and we're ready to see if it'll start and run. Fuel system is in place. Really nothing more to say except try it. Yep. All right, key is already on. Turn the gas on. Give it a little, I'm gonna fill the bowl actually. I'm gonna give the carb a little prime. Let's see what happens. Oh, it likes those new plugs. That's odd. Maybe not enough fuel. Yeah. Whew.
Yeah, there's definitely some smoke coming out where you cut that exhaust.
Yep. And we've got a valve hanging up, but it ran, man, it ran. Okay, let's try it again. Yeah, it wants to go. I don't know if this carb is flowing gas yet or not. I don't think this carb is flowing gas. I'm going to put more in the bowl, but it doesn't appear that it's getting from the bowl into the carburetor.
I think you should put the covers back on. You're losing a lot of oil now. But you know that one in the back is still stuck.
Yeah, it's not moving at all. I can only assume that that cam lobe was wiped out, which is really unfortunate, really unfortunate. I was hoping it would come around and it was just a collapsed lifter, but it doesn't appear to be.
Hey, do you guys remember Nova? Yeah, she likes to stay outside. Honey, if you're panting, you should go in. I rarely see a cat pant from the heat. I mean, she's in the shade, but hey, sweetheart, why don't you go inside, huh? You look so weird with your mouth open. I know. You trying to catch a bunny rabbit? Is that better? Okay, good. Oh, wow.
Okay, we just put water in. It took less than a gallon, so that's great news. That means the cooling system hopefully had coolant in it, and no cracked block probably because it would have leaked out. We're going to give this another try. Fan belts on, alternators on, so this should be able to run now. Valve covers are on loosely. Let's try it.
gas one?
Huh? No. No, that's problem number one.
Mm.
Problem number two, I'm seeing a lot of blow-by. A lot. I'm going to attach these valve covers a little tighter and see if we still have the same amount of blow-by. We'll get right back to you. All right, we're going to try it again, this time with the gas turned on. A novel concept. Okay, one thing I noticed is that smoke is just burning off the exhaust where it leaked. There's a lot of blow-by coming out of this valve cover, a lot. That might be normal. The rings are probably stuck, but they better free up, because if they don't, then it means this engine's really worn out. So I'm going to pull the timing up a bit, because remember I retarded it to start it. I'm going to put it back where it was and see if that makes it idle a little better, because it doesn't want to idle, and it feels a little retarded. So hopefully it's not, but we'll see. It definitely helped.
Yeah, but what about the popping?
It's some valves aren't seating exactly right yet, but I'm trying to warm it up, and it's not very warm yet. It's getting there, but not warm to where I need it to be. So I'm just going to fire it up and keep on running it.
Those fumes might be a little obsessive, so notice I keep moving backward. Yeah, now he's starting to make a face. You probably couldn't see it through the cloud of bad things,
So the second to last rocker arm on the driver's side still isn't moving. There's really only two things at this point. The cam lobe is completely wiped out, which I just have a hard time believing. Usually when it's wiped out, there'll at least be a little bit of movement in the lifter, and this has zero. Or perhaps the lifter is stuck up. From the scope, looking down in there, I can see that it might be. So what I'm going to do is this. I've got this push rod out of a Chevy 216, which is an engine that has a super long push rod. I'm going to put the push rod in there on top of the lifter and hit it with the brass hammer and see if the lifter moves down. If it does, then I know that the lifter is in fact stuck and maybe I can get it free. So I'm going to saturate the top of the lifter first with Cree-Oil. So I just want to make sure that if this lifter starts moving, it's covered in oil. And this Cree-Oil is good, not just because it's great lubricating properties, but it sprays a long distance. Okay, that should do it. So what I'm doing here is I've got the Chevy 6-cylinder push rod in here. It's long enough for me to actually hit. And I'm going to hit it with the brass hammer to push the lifter down, to basically to unstick it. And you see that? It definitely moved. And it moved quite a bit. It moved at least a 1/4 inch, maybe more. So what I'm going to do now is put the scope in there and spin it over and see if the lifter pops up, which I believe it will. So it's hard to see in this shot, but this is the lifter. The scope is inside showing it. Christine is going to hit the starter button and you're going to watch that lift is going to move. Go ahead. See that? See that? This lifter is now free. Okay, and here's our proof. It's moving beautiful. Woohoo! In these will it runs, especially on an engine this bad, I try to keep my expectations low. But this ran on 7 cylinders yesterday. Now it ought to have 8 with that lifter fixed. So my expectations are that it actually runs a lot better. We'll see. All I'm going to do is give it a little shot of gas and kick it over. Idiot. Ran it out of gas again. That seems to be my new MO. Forgetting to turn the gas on. Just oil burning off from yesterday. I thought I'd cleaned it all off, I guess not. But as you can see, it's idling at a much more acceptable RPM. I'm going to mess with it a bit and get back to you. All right, it's running good. No more blow-by. Look at that, minimal blow-by. I wanted to show you all how easy this is to start now. How can you beat it? So we had planned to drive this around, but even after all the work I did to the transmission, it doesn't go into gear. So that'll be a video for another day. Check for it on our second channel, More What the Rust. And that is a wrap. So, Can you take an engine that's been completely flooded out and bring it back to life? Absolutely you can. Here's the proof. With a lot of work, it will happen. I hope you enjoyed this. Christina and I had a lot of fun doing this. It was a ton of work. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Now, the truck has been officially named as the Ranger F-150 FEMA Edition. Hope you all like the name.